And welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Mobile Suit Gundam Encounters in Space. Last time we left off, we ran our first pilot, or no, excuse me, my third pilot through Earth Federation Space Force mode. Now we're going to go back through and do our third pilot for the Principality of Zeon.
Let's start.
I don't know, for some reason I always liked the old guy here for the Zeon side. He's the one I picked the most. Now, I did say that this is going to be the third pilot, just like with Federation side. The one I actually recorded was the third pilot for Federation. I'm doing the same thing for Zeon, because I want to take the pilots that I've created off screen and the one I do here for the actual footage itself and use them in versus mode. That way we can actually see them in action all at once. In terms of names, I've just basically whatever came to mind when I was drinking and playing these at the same time is whatever I put on there. So
registering as a Zeon
they don't make sense, that's it. So I got kind of shit on for some of the points here, though. Then again, I did get negative 10 guard off the bat, which is nice.
This is an easy mission.
Now, I primarily go for the tri-star or the tri-colored missions here because I feel like they just give a better spread of points for updating your pilot along the way. More so than the single-colored versions. Now, the single-colored versions may give you more points off the bat, like for a one-star mission. But once you get up to the 3 stars and plus, you're going to be getting a lot more, I think, for your time out of the 3-colored ones. Now, the Zeon side is actually kind of, I think, easier than the Federation side for the sole fact that a lot of the missions that you actually have to go through, you're only fighting the Federation when they didn't really have any mobile suits mass-produced. I mean, there are some missions where you're going to be fighting Gems and Gem Command, Gem Sniper, that type of thing, along with whatever battleship that you have to go through, but yeah. Now, I'm choosing a specific Zaku here. It's actually a Zaku 2. Fritz helm type. It's the MS-06FZ helm, which is just Zaku 2 Kai, basically, with a giant helmet. It looks like it's an old World War II helmet. It just has extra armor. It's kind of a goofy little thing. Really not much different than the normal FZ type. It has a slightly different color scheme. I do like the darker color for it, but I'm not a big fan of the fact that the chest on the FZ types looks just too wide. Alright, here we go. Whenever it decides to load. Any minute now. There we go.
Initiating combat. Do your best.
Now many of you may be going, but Lokenhart, that giant bazooka number 2 is not the standard armament for this. That's right, folks, it's not. But it kicks a hell of a lot of ass, and that's the reason I got it. A lot of these missions I'm going to be doing here are going to be primarily based upon mobile suit, even, against attack ships. So it's going to be anti-ship warfare. For that sole fact, this gun is a fantastic little piece of equipment to take out the Salamis class ships. Now, you can take the support. You actually get quite a bit of support options throughout a lot of the Zeon missions. If you want to use them, go for it. I do make heavy use of them later on in this video just because of some of the difficulty spikes. For the most part, you're only going to have to worry about taking the missiles from the Salamis class units, and then there's going to be a bunch of public class and Saberfish fighter aircraft just trying to take you apart. They really shouldn't be able to take you out. This is only a 1-star mission, so it's really kind of easy, but the difficulty does ramp up quite quickly. So we managed to succeed our way through this. Yeah, so we didn't get a whole lot in terms of points here, but we got an equal spread for them, and you'll see this get a lot better as we go up in stars or difficulty ranking for it. Again, off my first turn, I really don't put anything into points just because we don't have a whole lot to work with. At least make a difference.
This is an easy mission.
Now, the 3-star missions actually come into a couple of different types. There's only one of the 3-star missions that I'm aware of that actually has you going up against a bunch of mobile suits, other than like Saberfish and stuff like that. And that's actually the Pezon Numbers mission for it. So,
objective.
with Operation British here, we're going to be doing basically the same thing. We're just going to be taking out a bunch of Salamis class ships. For the most part, though, with the tri-colored missions, you don't get to pick what mobile suit you actually get to use. I was surprised I actually had the option for that first mission to actually pick my own unit. Get used to seeing the Zaku 2, folks. I make a lot of use out of it, or get a lot of use out of it for this.
Taking off.
I don't know why. The character portrait, the voice for this one fits. I like it. Old Gump is is where it's at here. And he's actually a pretty good pilot, and you get to see what I turned him into, a beast. Like I said, I just find these missions a lot easier than the Federation counterparts.
Public units launching.
Enemy approaching.
One, because the Zaku 2 is a hell of a lot better of a mobile suit compared to the Gem. Just for some reason, whenever I get to pilot the Gem in those higher starred missions, I get my ass handed to me. Maybe I'm just allergic to them, I don't know.
Be careful.
Hell, even using the Gem custom for some of my off-screen plays when I
Enemy strength
creating the other
decreasing.
pilots, I got my ass kicked. I don't know why. It's just something about me and a Gem mobile suit. It just doesn't work out well. Now, be careful not to fly too far in front of these Solomon units. They will launch those missiles at you. And at this point in time, you aren't really well enough equipped in terms of your boost speed in order to dodge them
Enemy
correctly.
strength decreasing.
Now, since you do have the Zaku 2 machine gun, you can make sure to shoot them all down using your spam attack. But it's not always guaranteed that they'll be destroyed before they hit you. And they will take a healthy chunk out of your hit points there. Now, don't worry too much about your time limit. This isn't necessarily a survive until time limit over. This is more along the lines of destroy everything before the time limit goes. So if you can manage to do that, you'll be fine. And make liberal use of the special attack with the Zaku 2 machine gun. It is actually quite powerful despite the fact that it looks like it wouldn't hit shit. So we got some more points here, and I'm actually going to start putting some things into here. As usual, I'm a big fan of guard, so I tend to rank that one up almost completely without restraint. It's such a good little skill. However, if you take a unit that doesn't have a shield, well, then you're fucked. There's no point. All that guard really just goes to waste. I think it does do something to your unit's defense in terms of damage, but it really shines when you actually have a shield gauge.
Select the mission. This is
There's
an
our
easy,
Peza numbers.
This is an easy mission.
Now, the way that these stars go up is the more of these missions you do. So if you do a bunch of green missions, you're going to see larger
Confirm the
starred green
operation
missions come
objective.
up. This mission is probably the
Launch.
hardest
Be
mission. We get to
careful.
pilot the Axe Zaku, which is kind of okay. It's alright. It doesn't have a shield, so it's not the greatest thing for tanking hits, which at the larger starred versions of the more difficult versions of this mission, and you're still stuck with the Axe Zaku, it really starts to show that it needs a shield of some sort.
I'm taking off.
Now, the Axe Zaku is a really interesting unit. I like the design. I liked how it incorporates a lot of those goof features while remaining kind of true to the Zaku line itself. But all in all, this mission ranges from kind of easy to alright for it. Now, you've seen the counterpart to this one here, which was the Intercept Forces at Granada mission from the Federation side, where we had to fight a shit ton of mobile armors and Garibaldi units and all that type of thing. That mission for the Federation is extremely difficult. And that's not to say that this one isn't, because we're going to be fighting a bunch of Ball K types, and I think it's just a bunch of Gem commands and Gem snipers. But it just seems I have an easier time with the Xeon Forces side missions on these. I don't know why. Now, be careful not to get too close to these Solomon class ships. They will fire those missiles at you, and you'll have your back turned to them a lot of the time when you're trying to take out these reinforcement units, which after you do, I think it's 3 to 4 waves for this mission level, you're actually going to not have to deal with the waves anymore, the reoccurring ones, and then you can concentrate on the ships. The objective here is to destroy everything on screen, from ship to
Confirmed
mobile suit.
target destroyed. You did it. Destroy
Now,
the
you will get a
remaining
friend
targets.
to be able to summon for this mission or bring back a bin. I recommend doing it every time. It's nice to have somebody else there to act as a bullet sponge, essentially.
Confirmed target destroyed. You did it. The operation was a success. Please return.
Now, I forgot to do it, but shoot the corpses for additional points. I mean, you may not get a whole lot, but it may be just enough to throw you over for a special bonus modifier. So now you see those points are actually starting to add up quite a bit here with these multicolor missions. A lot of them are the same type of mission. Destroy this ship. Destroy, these forces and those ships. Kind of boring and bland. Yeah, I get it. But to me, the pilots that I raise out of those missions just tend to be the best. And that's why I'm doing it this way for it. See, I've already got my guard up to 15. I mean, at this point in the game, my shield
This is an advanced mission with a high degree of difficulty.
I was surprised that the 4-star just popped up like that for the Battle of Loam.
This is an easy.
Compared to everything else, which is barely a 2-star. So I figured, what the fuck? Why not? If I'm going to get blown up, I might as well do it on camera, right?
Objective.
Again, all we got to do is make sure that we take out enough cruisers to buy ourselves some time here. We just have to survive until mission over without letting a certain number of cruisers.
Launch.
I think it's
careful.
5. 5 cruisers go over the do not return line. Once we do that, mission's over. We should be okay. Luckily for us, unlike the Federation side, we don't have to do this with a saberfish most of the time, because a lot of those missions just like to give you either random, which I'm pretty sure is just biased into giving you a saberfish public unit, or some variable fighter aircraft that is horribly underpowered. It makes this mission an absolute pain in the ass, especially when you have to be dodging Zaku 1 and Zaku 2s the entire time. They just absolutely fuck over fighter aircraft if they get in close. Again, you're going to get a partner that you can summon for this. Use it if you want to. He can help to make sure that you don't have to worry about a lot of the fighter aircraft. They'll try and target him along the ways, and you can completely free to target these ships as you want. Now, I would say take out a lot of these aircraft, but the amount that you have to take out in order for them to stop respawning is, I think, really high. I think it's something like 50 units in total. So if you think they spawn in waves of 3, that's quite a few waves you got to go through to get them to respawn, if that actually works. I'm not sure. Sometimes it does for missions, sometimes it doesn't. Just concentrate on these ships. I would go, advise going for the Salamis first, not the Magellan like I'm doing here, for the sole fact that the Magellan is just so slow compared to the Salamis class.
Enemy strength decreasing. The target is passing through the battlefield.
Yeah, see, this Salamis is actually boogieing quite well.
Intact. You can do it.
If you do have fear of getting a ship outside of the line, use your special attack. Especially if you have it like 2 bars, that'll take out an entire Salamis by itself. Those two attack versions for it.
It's pretty strong.
The public unit's main attack, which is just scattered machine gun, isn't really that much to fear. It's their missiles that become a bit of a pain in the ass, and they can do some damage to you pretty well. For some reason, there is a little bit of a trick to dodging them. If you keep hugging one side, like one extreme side left or right, over the other, it just seems to be easier to dodge them, especially if they're firing at you from behind. Don't know why, it just seems to work.
You can do it. You're halfway to the operation's time limit.
Now, I wouldn't recommend using the knuckle crackers as much as I am here. I'm just using it so that my until my ammunition for my main bazooka actually replenishes itself. It does replenish pretty quick.
Enemy strength decreasing.
All in all, not too bad of a mission. I mean, it's not really that difficult. Sometimes when they try to gang up on you, it can lead to your armor going to hell and back real quick. But for a 4-star mission, it's not necessarily that bad. Now here's a question for you folks.
Target is still intact.
Since a lot of things
you can do it.
Gone on with like Let's Plays in general on YouTube in these recent couple of months, where it's like Nintendo claiming all their different advertising rights and stuff like that. I know that, like, for example, on V and M and stuff like that, on the sort of boards on the web, people are kind of against Let's Plays, and especially with commentary itself. Do you guys prefer that I commentate with these? I mean, hell, if I don't have to commentate, all I gotta do is record it and slap the edit, loading times and a couple other things out, and I just slap that shit onto YouTube, and it's done and done. But when I have to go back and record, it obviously takes other time for it. I don't mind commentating. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. Got used to actually talking to myself when there's nobody there. So, but I don't know. Give me like a consensus of what you guys think. Because if the majority seems that it might be better off just to record and put up the videos without my commentary, then I may do that. Or I may just continue to annoy the hell out of you guys. I haven't decided. We'll find out. Anyways, the mission's done. It's not too bad. For a 4-star, that wasn't too bad at all. But as you can see, we're getting a lot of points here spread across the board, and they will add up with these missions. I can't remember what I do here. I know towards the end of this entire run, I ended up with a lot of points left over in body. For some reason, I always end up with at least one stat that has a lot of points left over. I don't know why it just manages to do that. Now, I did take the resupply skill here, and the reason I did that, what the resupply skill does is it makes sure that your ammunition for all your weapon types, I believe, replenishes faster. So if I take my 10 shells all the way down to 0 and it reloads, instead of taking 10 seconds to reload, it takes, I don't know, 5. I don't know what the reduction is for it, but it takes it down a significant amount. Like, you can notice it, definitely. Now, I did take one level of New Type 1 here, because New Type 1, what it does, when you're using your boost roll in order to get out of a lock or dodge an attack, it lowers the thruster consumption of the gauge itself when you have New Type 1. And it improves itself as you get more and more levels of New Type. It also allows us to do critical hit attacks. Now, I'm not sure if that modifier is simply just for melee, or if it applies to both melee and long-range attacks, but it's nice to have even just for the thruster consumption. Again, we're going to be doing anti-ship combat here. A lot of these missions are the same mission, except that they have a higher star difficulty for them. And they are quite tough with when you get up to like the 4-star and above for these missions. I feel like my early investment into the guard statistic managed to, you know, bring me back from the brink a couple of times. I do like some of this music track. This one right here, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I could probably look it up in the BGM list, but maybe I'll do that when I get around to it. I just like it. Now, if you're quick here as you're coming in with Route 2 mode, you can actually get one good spam attack off against the first wave of public class units and take them all out completely. And the reason I suggest that you try and do this is, 1, it takes out a potential wave, and 2, they like to attack you or at least launch missiles at your ass while you're stuck trying to get out of Route 2 mode into Battlesphere mode. Now, we've got ourselves a partner here. Make good use of him for the sole fact that he actually will engage a lot of the public units that are just flying around. And they hurt an awful lot. But since we've actually started to invest in a lot of our different statistics, especially shooting, with our shoot statistic here, we're actually doing a lot of damage, or a lot more damage to the solid price units with this Zaku machine gun. It's actually a decent little weapon to take out these ships for, especially the scatter attack with the special attack, which is that scatter shot, which when you get up close to them, it's like a shotgun at close range. It's absolutely devastating.
Enemy strength decreasing.
I don't know why, but I actually like the battle coordinator, the lady who appears in the upper right corner. She probably has an actual name, and I just don't know what it is. The battle operator. I actually prefer her a lot more than the Federation version. And she doesn't just seem as obnoxious. I don't know. Maybe it's the pink hair versus the dark black hair. I don't know. And another reason to take that partner as backup is that you get to listen to him the entire time.
Operation was a success. Please return.
Some of these missions aren't bad once you start to get some skills in there. That resupply definitely came in handy. So here, boom, we've almost got 500 additional points for each of our skill sets, or attribute point pools. So that does pay off pretty good. Alright, so we got a 12 here, 18 there, and a 5 there. My melee skill is looking a little pathetic. But let's go ahead and boost the shooting up with just a bit more, and guard. And hell, why not some skill points into fighting for the most part. I don't do a whole lot of melee with the Zakus. I just never do, because I'm fighting ships. I mean, I can disable them much more effectively with my machine gun. Now, after this video is done here, oh god, peasant numbers is 5-star.
This is an easy mission.
Oh god, the 5-star missions. Only if you are feeling froggy, take on these 5-star missions. If you think you're really ready for it, by all means go for it. The point return values is absolutely great. Plus, for some of the 5-star missions, there's actually some benefit to doing them outside of the points. So I was feeling suicidal and I figured I'd actually try this. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? I'd get killed on camera. Oh well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Launch! Be careful!
But after this video, there's actually a couple of things I'm going to show off. There are some little oddities here and there that I want to point out in the game itself. Going to be going back to one of the missions in the Thoroughbred story mode. showing off a few little strange things here and there. And then we're definitely going to be diving into the versus mode and showing off a bit more of the team that I've created, the two people you've actually seen, Senna and Old Gump here, and see how well they work and see who can finally best who and what. The Federation team versus Xeon team. I'm also trying to unlock additional units to be able to use in versus mode, which I've unlocked a fair bit of them now.
Detecting enemy units.
Not all of them.
Initiating combat. Do your best.
Alright, so we've done this before. We know how this is going to start off. We're going to be put right in the middle of the shit, and we're armed with an Act Zaku that does not have a shield, which means my nice high guard ability doesn't really count for a whole lot. Definitely take support. This is a 5-star mission. You can't afford to fuck around with this. And there, you can hear that sound with a Gym 2 sniper. Or not Gym 2 sniper, a Gym sniper. Just pelting me in the backside with those fucking shells. It will destroy your arm. And we're also finding a bunch of ball K types. Take out the snipers first. They are the biggest pain in the ass in this mission. They're actually, I'm getting a lot better at dodging them. I used to have a real difficult time dodging them. But the Gym commands here are actually giving me quite a run for the money. I don't know why. But my health's getting real low, and I was really starting to feel some nervous twitching here as you see I run into a bunch of shots and things like that. Oh god, man, I have a sliver of health left, just a tiny bit. And this is where that resupply actually comes in and shines in, is that I can actually resupply quicker. Now, I'm not sure if that affects the overall resupply, and what I mean with that is if you use a beam weapon, you get it down to 1 out of 10 shots. If you don't fire anymore, after a certain lag time, your shell count should go back up as the capacitor just charges back up type of thing. Or you can just use that final shot and reload. I'm not sure which is faster. I've never really timed it, but it's always a nice little thing to see. It might actually be faster if you don't use that last shot, but who knows. So I managed to do that. I pulled that out of my ass. I'm not sure how. I had no health left. I don't know how that even registered as health. But what is important here is I unlocked a skill called Mood Maker. And what Mood Maker actually does is if any of your team actually has that skill equipped, the entire team will receive +5 to mobility in a combat situation for it. And now the way that you unlock that is that you actually have to complete at least 2 5-star balanced or the tricolored type of missions, and you'll actually unlock it there. So Mood Maker is kind of a rare skill. You can't buy it. You actually have to get it like this, wait for it. It's actually a really decent skill, and it takes up one of those skill slots that, kind of, for the most part, go to the waste. Now here, I've gone absolutely mad with power, and I have 35s in shooting and guard. It's just, there's nothing that should be able to stop me whatsoever with this this type of attack power right here. And to further dive into my insanity, I just add more points to guard as if insult to injury to the NPCs. And I'm only on I think this is the 7th mission now.
This is an advanced mission with a high degree of
this is only the 7th mission.
This is an
but
average
we do
mission.
have our 5-star Operation British. Now you see that some of the other missions are starting to pick up with their star levels for it. But like I said, the more mind missions you play, the higher the stars will be for them. The more body missions you play, the higher the star rating
Confirm
is
the
going to be
operation
appearing for them.
objective.
Now there are some skills that you can actually unlock similar to like Mood Maker, but they can only be unlocked by completing X amount of 5-star missions for it. For example,
Launch. Be careful.
The one I think it's Hang On, is it? I think that one's for the orange body missions for it. You have to complete 2 of the 5 stars for it. And I think the other one is Politics, which is for mind. And I don't remember what these skills do off the top of my head. And I know there's one more. I can't think of what it is that you unlock with the blue pilot skilled missions themselves after completing at least 2 5 stars for it. But these are just kind of hidden little skills that come in handy here and there. Some of them have decent benefits, some of them don't. Most of the time they add to your attribute score, like more to mobility, more to melee, that type of thing.
Initiating combat.
So they do come in handy. Unfortunately for me, this is a 5-star mission, and I have a really high guard statistic, but I don't have a shield. That's right, the Zaku 1 is so shitty it can't even fly with a shield, at least not this
Detecting
version.
enemy reinforcements. Be
So,
careful.
yeah.
Enemy strength
I was
is
real nervous
steadily
going into this because
decreasing.
I completely forgot that the Zaku 1 doesn't technically have a shield, even though it could probably equip one.
I'm going in for backup. I'll show you I can cover you.
Definitely take this mission with a partner, or use the partner that showed up for it. And for some reason, the voice actor for your support guy here, he sounds really familiar. It's some character he also voiced in the English dub of Wing, Gundam Wing, that I can't just quite place. It might have been,
This is nothing.
I think it's
Damage to the unit
Dakim
is
Barton.
minimal.
Did he play? I think so, yeah. It sounds like Dakim Barton from English Waltz.
Blow up.
Mr. Feather in my cap himself. Maybe I'll look that up in the credits to see if that's actually true or not. It sounds really close. I'm not surprised that they recycle voice actors for the Gundam series. I mean, Sunrise and Bandai only have a real small pool of voice actors that they tend to use. There's some good ones, but you know, there's some very recognizable ones there too. Like, they do a lot.
Nice attack.
I was afraid of just getting wrecked by all those missiles, and I'm down below half health. Again, I'm getting real nervous here, but we managed to do it. And what saved my ass was the fact that my shooting statistic is so high, I can absolutely devastate a Salamis class unit. And bam, 720 fucking points for each skill. That's amazing. I think this is the first time I've actually ever completed this many 5-star missions without dying in between or something along the lines. Like, most of the time when I get to the first one, I die at like mission 6 and then on to 7. Because if you do die, it counts it as a skip, and if you're on mission 5 and you die, you go automatically to mission 6 and you don't get any additional points. So now we can really go further down the rabbit hole here into insanity and just pump more points into my ever-growing guard skill and shoot skill. This character would, I think, be known as overpowered. There's just, wow. Now, 50 is the max for these point skills, so you can, in theory, only take these up to 50 each. So 50 attack, 50 mobility, 50 guard, 50 shoot, you know, that type of thing. Now, can you get those points? It's possible. I've heard of people trying to do it, but you have to get real lucky with a bunch of randoms. I think it's only really possible with Federation pilots, I think, just because they tend to have to use a lot of aircraft, which have a higher special bonus modifier that you get factored in. And since I'm getting kind of low on points, I really can't spend a whole lot more on my actual main 4 attributes here. I'm just buying some of these skills, like Good Luck, for example, allows you to survive, have a 50% chance of surviving a fatal hit. Comes in handy and makes you a fucking pain in the ass to kill. I also pick up a point of willpower here, and which allows me to get more of a special gauge as I take damage, and I persist, which is I don't know, I completely forgot what that one is. It does something. There was method to my madness here. So here we are in Mission 8, and we have the 5-star Battle of Loam, which of course is a 5-star. I'm going to go right for that one. That's going to have a shit ton of points for a payout.
Confirm the operation objective.
Again, not a whole lot of variation for these tricolor missions. It usually boils down to take out 5 or so cruiser class or capital class ships and you're done. And you very rarely ever have to fight mobile suits. The vast majority of these are just fighting aircraft, unless you have like the peasant number ones. Again, I'm stuck with a frickin' Zaku 1, but at least they arm me with a Zaku 1 bazooka, which is slightly more powerful, I think, off the bat than the machine gun. But honestly, with 50 points into shooting, with my shooting attribute, it doesn't really matter what weapon. I could be armed with a fucking tuna fish and it would do better. A giant space tuna fish, like the one they had in Macross. Just come up there and just bat them away with that. I don't need a heat hawk or be tackling things. I just need a giant fish.
Enemy approaching.
I think that would be a fitting end for a Salamis, and I mean, it is a rather pathetic ship. I mean, it only really exists to become fodder for mobile suits.
Still intact.
Or mobile armors.
Enemy strength decreasing.
Mostly mobile suits.
I can back you up.
So we've done this mission before. Go ahead and take the support. It is a 5-star mission, and the moment you think that you've got this in hand is the moment you get your ass handed to you.
Enemy
So take that
decreasing.
support. If anything, he'll get his ass kicked, and then you're back to square
Target
one
is
anyways.
still
But at least he took
intact.
some of those shots
You
for
can
you.
do it. Enemy strength decreasing.
So basically now with our shooting attribute of 50, everything blows up in one hit. That's a small unit, and the ships themselves take about a full clip and they're done. So I'm really overpowered in terms of an offensive capability at this point. The only thing I'm really lacking is mobility and
Target is
attack
taking
power
damage.
for melee,
Enemy
which
strength
honestly I'm not too
decreasing.
worried. I spend most of my time shooting at things anyways, and with anything above a statistic above negative,
Target
you're
is still
okay with
intact. You
especially
can
when
do
you
it.
actually see what some of the actual pilots you can play as in versus mode have in terms of
Strength
skills.
decreasing.
You can actually play not just the characters that you make in
Target
mission
is
mode here,
still
but you
intact.
can also play as
You
Armor
can do
Ray,
it.
Shar,
Enemy strength
characters you
decreasing.
can unlock type of thing. And they also have scores for their main 4 attributes along with certain skills that they can have for it. Which is, adds an interesting little
Damage to the unit is minimal.
comparison
Halfway to the
type
operation's
of
time limit.
side to this whole thing for it. But you'll see that a lot of the pilots that actually show up in the series aren't that good in terms of statistics, and you could make
Target
pilots
is
a
taking
hell of a
damage.
lot better. And I'll show this
Enemy
off
strength
later on down the line when we
decreasing.
actually get down to the versus mode.
The target is taking damage. Enemy strength decreasing.
Overpowered, absolutely overpowered. This is a Zaku 1 to be reckoned with. I mean, technically it has about the same point value as a ball, but
The target
I
is
just think
taking
that the whole
damage.
fact that it's a
The
mobile
target
suit just
is
makes it a lot
passing through
cooler.
the battlefield.
I mean,
Hurry up.
look at it.
Enemy
Look
strength
at it go.
decreasing. Damage increasing. Be careful.
I think for taking out this many
Target is
cruisers,
taking
I should
damage.
at least be rewarded with my own paint job for it. And that would have been nice to see still little things like
Target
that,
lost.
like you can paint your own
Enemy
unit
strength
or
decreasing.
design emblems, that type of thing.
Detecting enemy reinforcements.
Nice attack.
I mean, the mission mode was kind of, it seems like it was, just something they added on as, hey, this might be cool to do, but, it'd be absolutely fantastic to see
Target
something
is taking
with a
damage.
little bit more depth to it, even if it was just along the same lines
Enemy
as
strength
a larger
decreasing.
mission mode. Like Federation versus Eon,
Be
where
careful.
you actually got to start a pilot starting from scratch, choose their portrait, some of their statistics you can manipulate, that type of thing. So a marriage
Target is
between those
taking
two
damage.
types of those two
Enemy
games
strength
and
decreasing.
their respective little versions for campaign and mission mode would be
Operation
fantastic.
success.
All aces. And that's it. That's another 5-star mission
Yep.
completed. It's also our 8th and final mission. Now we managed to make off like bandits for our points here. I mean, still not as good as when we took out the other mission where we got 700 something points, but 576 points per all 3 skills. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is the most overpowered character I think I've created ever. I don't ever remember getting a character when I first played this game as a kid above 30 for shooting. I mean, I thought that was extremely overpowered at that point. But here I have 2 attributes that are at level 50 and 2 other attributes that are above level 25. I mean, that's just, God. And I have a full skill bar here with new type rank 2, willpower, persist, good luck, supply, and mood maker. That's just ungodly overpowered. But unfortunately for me, I used too many of my points for different things. I ended up not being able to finish off some more of those points in body, and I managed to, well, use a bunch or keep a bunch left over, which they just go to waste for the most part. So we're going to save our character here, make sure we can use him down the line. Of course, I'm going to save a character that's 50, 50, 30, and 30. That's just foolhardy. So you see my other 2 characters here, Space Barman. It's a trap. We'll be seeing more of them later on down the line when we get down to verses. But we'll go ahead and save old Gump here, where he belongs in his nice new home. And we'll move on from there. So folks, until I see you the next time, later.